Bill Wilson joining us. He is the father of Jody Wilson-Raybould, Canada's former Justice Minister, former Attorney General, and now former Veterans Affairs Minister. Mr. Wilson, thank you for taking your time. What do you make of this news that Gerry Butts is out?
It's quite a big surprise, but it seems to indicate that the whole thing that is considered rumors before is more fact now. The reality is that we seem to be getting closer to the emperor, and he doesn't seem to have any clothes on.
I want to read you something that is specifically said in this resignation letter, Mr. Wilson, about your daughter. And he says, Gerald Butts, I want to say a word about my relationship with Miss Wilson-Raybould. I encouraged her to run for the Liberal Party of Canada, worked hard to support her as a candidate and then cabinet minister. From my perspective, our relationship has always been defined by mutual respect, candor, and an honest desire to work together. What do you make of that?
Well, I read that and I thought to myself that he's certainly putting himself arm's length from anybody else that criticized her. I do know a bit of that history, although I have not spoken to Jody. The reality is that this guy was one of the senior recruiters to get a star candidate in Vancouver Granville. And it seems to me that if it's not rats deserting a sinking ship, it's people trying to keep their reputation clean from what is going to be, or it seems to be, a really ugly scandal.
We know that your daughter has now received representation from a leading jurist, as you know, Thomas Cromwell. One of our commentators earlier in the program, Mr. Wilson, said that they felt this resignation letter was an indication that this meant something was going to be coming from your daughter and her representation in terms of what she can say, what she can't say. Can you give us any insights at all on whether we will be hearing from your daughter anytime soon on this story?
No, I can't. I don't have any kind of contact with my daughter. Your idea is as good as mine, but clearly there's some pressure coming and some kind of a threat. I mean, people don't resign from the highest non-elected political office in the country without some fear or reason. He talks about his reputation, and he seems to fear that it is at risk, and it could very well be but he denies that he or any of his staff had anything to do with this. But I mean, like I say, you don't take a hugely influential, the most influential person in the country in a non-elected position and step down if there wasn't something coming down the pike. I don't know anything more about it than he does, but I suppose he must know something more about it.
I'm also curious as well whether you might have any insights on the relationship between Gerry Butts, and your daughter. You talked about how he went out and was trying to recruit so-called star candidates, and Jody Wilson-Raybould, certainly one of those, Canada's first female Indigenous Justice Minister, Attorney General. Do you know anything about their relationship, though, moving beyond that you can tell us?
No, I really do not. I simply know what you know. I mean, Jody was sort of not plucked out of the air because she obviously has a good reputation, etc., and she's a star candidate. Even Trudeau admitted that when he signed the papers and did the thing. I mean, and I was quite surprised, not that she would be a star candidate. I wasn't surprised that she would get elected with a huge majority, but I was very pleasantly surprised when she became the Attorney General, the first Indian person, the first woman to occupy such a high office. That's what makes all of this tragedy, and if it is going to be a huge scandal, such a terrible mess, because it's a step back for Aboriginal people and the progress that Jody symbolized and that all of us expected.
Can I ask you as well, and I appreciate it's very busy, but while we have you here, Mr. Wilson, what the last week and a half have been like, as far as you can understand, for your daughter to be pulled into this story, really find herself at the center of it all? What do you know?
Well, I know that she has taken the time to be with her mother and with some of her family here up at Cape Mudge on the reserve, where she and Tim share a house. And she's relaxed over the weekend. Apparently she has gone back now to Ottawa because the House is sitting today. I would imagine that she takes it very seriously, because she's never been an emotional person, but she's been very, very strong. And she seems to get tougher as the going gets tougher. She must get that from her grandmother, after whom whom she's named.
Do you have any indication about her political career in the future? And what I mean by that is she's obviously an MP for the riding of Vancouver-Granville, and you're saying she's heading back to Ottawa because the House will be back in session as of Tuesday. Do you think she will run for re-election come the next federal election, which, as you know, is really only in about 6 months or so?
Yeah, 7 months. I have no doubt that she will run. She hasn't told me that. I have no doubt that she will run. She has an obligation to the people of Grandview, and she has an obligation to the people of the Liberal Party, as well as all of the other people in that riding that voted for her in a huge majority, almost 10,000 people. I think that she will run in that riding again and maybe get 15,000 people. And who knows, with the machinations of all of this that's crumbling around us, there could be a leadership convention, and she would be an ideal candidate.
Bill Wilson is Jody Wilson-Raybould's father, joining us on the line from Campbell River amid this story. The top political advisor to the Prime Minister resigning today. Gerald Butts is out. Mr. Wilson, thank you for taking time for CTV. Always a pleasure to talk to you.